Hey guys, Nick Biddle here. Hope you're doing well this week. Last week I asked you a question, what type of leader are you? Got a lot of responses. A couple of you sent me a text. Many of you said I lead by example, and I would say you're exactly right. But the truth is we all lead by example. Great leaders lead by example. Horrible leaders also lead by example. I want you to think about this. Have you ever had a boss, and as you watch that boss, you said, when I'm in their position, I will never do what they do? They lead by example. They just lead by a bad example. I hope you're leading by a good example, but I think what great leaders do is they lead deliberately, on purpose, for a purpose. I was doing a workshop one time, I believe it was in Wisconsin, I could be mistaken, and we'd had a whole bunch of qualities that a great leader teaches, a whole bunch of skills and qualities a great leader teaches those that they lead. I believe I was working with some electricians, and I had one guy in the room, he said, I teach everything on that list, everything, to those that I lead. I said, man, you're fantastic. You must be the best leader I've ever met. And I said, how do you teach those things? He said, well, I lead by example. I said, so you teach everything on this board, and we probably had 40 skills, from dealing with people to dealing with conflict to communication to integrity, initiative, drive, work ethic, all these different qualities that leaders need to develop in those that they lead. And he said, yeah, I lead by example. I teach everything on that board. And I said, what's one thing that you were absolutely fantastic at? And he said, oh, dealing with conflict. He said, I'm great with conflict. He said, you put me in a room with somebody who's pissed off, and in about 6 minutes, everybody's happy. I said, oh, that's fantastic. I said, tell me about the last time you were in a situation like that. He said, oh, 3 weeks ago, I had a job, and everything was going to crap, and the general contractor was upset, and I went into his office, and in about 6 minutes, everybody was happy. Change order was signed. I said, wow, you must be fantastic. I said, and you lead by example. He said, yep, I lead by example. I said, man, that is great. I said, who was in there watching you? He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you lead by example. And I said, how many guys are on your crew? He said, I'll get about 27 guys on my crew. I said, how many of them were in that meeting with you? He said, well, none of them. I said, where were they? He said, well, they were all on the job working. I was the only one in there. I said, then how is that leading by example? If no one is watching you, what are you teaching? I said, that's leading through osmosis. You're hoping somebody picks up on something you said about something that happened, but they're not watching you lead. I said, leading by example is when you take that young man, that young woman you're grooming, you grab them by the ear, you pull them in the meeting, and you say, I want you to watch me. I want you to watch me closely, and I don't want you to say a single word. And you go into that meeting with that general contractor that's upset, and you do your thing, and then you come out, and then you debrief, and you say, okay, now did you see this? Now the general contractor got mad, and he called me a name, and I didn't respond, and then he talked about my mother, and I still didn't respond, and then I said this, and we did that, and then that's how we worked it out. I said, that's leading by example. Everything else is a cop-out. If you're leading by example, congratulations, you're with everybody else in the country. First question is, are you leading by a good example? The second question is, who's watching you? Are you being deliberate about how you lead? Are you being deliberate about what you teach? I don't care if you're leading a crew on a job, a team in an office, or your family at home. Are we being deliberate? I'll take somebody that's deliberate any day over somebody that's just good. Guys, hope you're doing well. Till next time, take care.